It's Spookum seasons, and I forgot to upload a video last week, but that gives me the opportunity to make a fun little Halloween-centric episode, but I'm still going to be talking about PreCure. So what I think I am going to do for this is I am going to talk about the PreCure episodes that released on or around Halloween, whichever one is closer to Halloween, release date wise for the episode, whether that be before or after. Now, little spoiler for this, pretty much every single episode that I remember seeing in terms of release date released closest to, but before Halloween. None of the ones that released after Halloween were closer, which is kind of interesting just as a whole. I don't know how they consistently made that across all of the different seasons that I pulled up, but I'm going to kind of talk about the episode a little bit and then to figure out if it is a good Halloween episode or not, because I think that's a little bit of a funny way to do it. Futari wa PreCure episode 38 is the Halloween episode for the first season of PreCure. It was released on Halloween in 2004 when the series first started, and is a very light-hearted episode. It follows primarily Nagisa's younger brother, Ryota, as he gets to go on his baby's first day out trip by himself to deliver a little package that their father forgot before he went to the office for the big meeting. Now, Nagisa and Honoka follow him, of course, but it's still kind of that early experience that I feel like I remember seeing something about a lot of children kind of get decently early on, where they get to go out and like buy groceries or something on their own, kind of a coming of age thing. And delivering this package to their father serves as that for Ryota. Now, Nagisa and Honoka follow him the whole way to make sure that he survives the trip and doesn't get lost or anything, much to his benefit, otherwise he would have gotten lost. But it's still a very nice episode. It's very much chill, casual. There's not a ton of danger going on until the later part of the episode, when one of the villains actually shows up and attacks Cure Black and Cure White to try to figure out what the secret of Porun's power is. At this point in the show, the villains don't actually know what Porun's deal is. They don't understand why he's there or sort of the secret power that he holds. They just know he has something to do with the Garden of Light, and they are determined to figure out what that is. And every time they try, he beats their ass, because they will try to defeat Cure Black and White, and then he'll get upset and be like, oh, stop bullying them, and then shoot light beams out of his eyes, and they'll get a new toy and then use it to defeat the bad guys. So overall, it's a very fun episode. I forgot how much of a stuffy nose Ryota's VA sounds like he has. And I also forgot that Nagisa's dad is voiced by the guy who voices Dio Brando. So that's always kind of a little bit of a jump scare to hear his very distinct voice in an anime, especially when he is not voicing an antagonistic character. But that is just, I think, part of the fun of it, because he's been doing this VA work forever. This isn't a very good Halloween episode. It's not a Halloween episode at all. It just happened to release on Halloween. It's just a pretty normal slice of life episode, and then the antagonists show up and kind of put a little bit of a monkey wrench in the day's plans. There isn't anything spooky going on. There aren't Halloween decorations up or anything. They don't talk about the season. It's not that's not the episode, and that's fine. But as a Halloween episode, that's pretty bad. It's a bad episode, 0 out of 10. 1 out of 10, actually, because Porun is psychic, and I will give being psychic and having premonitions a pass on the Halloween scale, because he does say some cryptic shit, like, the next door is darkness, and everybody on the train who is hearing this little mascot say that to Nagisa and Onoka goes, what? What does that mean? That's scary. I don't like that. And they say, oh, just kidding, haha, it was a joke, it's a little blushy, haha. But, yeah, not a great Halloween episode, which is kind of funny. Futari wa PreCure Max Heart, episode 36, released October 30th, 2005. This episode is primarily focused on Porun and Lulun going on their own fun little adventure as they run off, get lost, and then accidentally get kidnapped. But, of course, the child picking them up off the ground doesn't know that they are alive, so she just thinks she's found some cute little plushies. And so she's gonna hang out with these little guys, and she's like, oh boy, I love these little fun plushy things. The first entire half of the episode is comprised of going through what this child is up to, and just kind of how Porun and Lulun survive in their disguised state of standing absolutely still, or trying to. They are both very young and cannot sit still for long at all. And so there are several moments where they're moving around and the child is like, huh, I didn't put you there, or I didn't put the car there. Why are things moving around? But that's okay, because they hold it together until they get to give their little big speech to her at the end. But the first half of the episode is just comprised of these two, the mascots, seeing the internal struggle of this child as she has accidentally broken her father's toy car, and not wanting to see him on his return from the business trip because she's afraid he'll be mad, and Porun and Lulun kind of giving her a little bit of courage to face that challenge head on. The second half of the episode is still focused on that, but, you know, of course, one of the bad guys just show up for a little bit. She shows up and makes Izakina, and then they blow it up. And it's probably one of the slowest fights that I can remember seeing in the show. Maybe this season, maybe the series as a whole, because they only really throw a couple of blows back and forth. They only get thrown around a little bit. Most of it is spent just kind of figuring out how to, I guess, protect the girl who is passed out inside the jungle gym equipment, while also dealing with the antagonist. But the focus isn't on the fight of the episode, so it doesn't need to be high-impact violence episode. That's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. However, as a Halloween episode, 0 out of 10. No Halloween presents, none, not a drop of it, unless you count Toy Story-ass shenanigans of Porun and Lulun moved around while this child thinks she just has some little plushies she found on the ground. 0 stars. Good day, sir. Futari wa PreCure Splash Star, episode 38, released on October 29th, 2006, making it our Halloween episode for this season. It's got very end of summer energy to it, despite the fact that they are in their school uniforms and they very clearly left school for the opening scene of the episode, and also the fact that they are at school for the next scene of the episode. But just something with the summer sunset and the fact that they're watching a drama be filmed over the beach next to their city gives it end of summer energy to me. In addition to that, they have very small town energy to the episode as well, because of the way the drama, or rather, the rumors spread very quickly. There's not really drama spreading in this episode, because everybody thinks that Sahi has been scouted as a talent and as a potential actress or a voice actor or model of some sort, as talent scouting tends to go. The director of this drama approached her after the scenes were done filming and said, hey, here's my card, Can we talk later on? And everybody's like, whoa, that's crazy. Saki's been scouted. That's awesome. Everybody at her school wants to talk to her. Everybody at school wants her autograph. And all of her friends don't want her to go because they will lose her because she'll have to move to the big city. And they call it the big city, which I think backs up my small town energy assessment of this. Plus, the people who go to their restaurant that her family runs also talk about the fact that Saki was potentially scouted while they were at this filming of the drama. So, rumors get around in a small town. That's just kind of how things operate. And it's a little funny seeing that in action in PreCure Splash Star. And then, the antagonists show up. Kintalesky hears that she's been scouted and will have to move away. And he's pissed, because he needs to train them so they will be a strong opponent for him to defeat. So he does like 8 backflips every time he hears anything about this and then runs off to fight them. And by train them, he means hit them with a train. And by hit them with the train, he means to turn a train into an Uzaina and then make them fight that. And he gets their training back on track. There's some really good bad jokes in that, and it's pretty good. However, as a Halloween episode, bad. 0 out of 10. No Halloween presents in the Halloween episode. Can't believe Splash Star has failed me like this. Yes, PreCure 5, episode 38, released on October 28th, 2007, and this will be our Halloween episode for the season. It is a Cinderella-focused episode, and if I had a nickel for every time PreCure has done a Cinderella episode, I probably have, like, a bunch of nickels, even from just PreCure 5 and, yes, PreCure 5 GoGo. Man, do they like Cinderella. Boy, do they use it a lot, which is fine. It's kind of fun, and they do some fun stuff with it in this one also. With Milk rewriting the story of Cinderella to basically write fanfiction about herself and her friends. Though she's not really in the fanfiction of Cinderella she was writing, because it makes Nozomi Cinderella, which means she is writing Nozomi to end up with Prince Coco. So I have to wonder if there was going to be a twist somewhere where actually she was the princess the whole time who gets the prince. Whatever. Doesn't matter because it doesn't come up. But it's kind of fun, either way. Fun to ponder about that. With the rest of the cast filling in the roles of the other characters in Cinderella. We have our wicked stepmother and the evil stepsisters. And all of them are pretty bad at being mean. And it is a little funny, within the story that Milk is writing, they're playing fast and loose with the fourth wall, where they will make jokes about them being not mean and supporting her with a smile and all of that kind of fun stuff. And we have Urara getting to be the witch who dresses Nozomi up in a couple of different outfits before actually getting her in the right dress for the ball. And then they go to the ball, and then they're like, wait, you're the witch, why are you at the ball? She's like, well, I just wanted to come have fun too. And playing around with the joke of, wait, who's that? Oh, that's Cinderella, the title character. Well, I had to say my lines and all of that. It's pretty good, it's pretty fun. Playing around with the story like that is entertaining, but it is kind of funny that a large part of the episode is the story that Milk is telling or writing, and not the actual episode that is happening to the characters until they get sucked inside the story, and then they have to play out the story just a little bit, because actually they're fighting the chandelier the whole time. And they don't really... I guess at the end they address the fact that Milk is writing fanfiction about her friends, and they get mad at her and chase her around for that while she's hopping around inside of the shoe like she's gotten a Super Mario Brothers power-up. Because she is just Super Mario Brothers 3-ing her way around the room, the living room of Nut's house, inside of the glass slipper that somehow made it back to the real world with them, even though it was part of the story and part of the nightmare magic worlds that Bunbi made for them to fight inside of. And their transformation sequences with the dresses on is very good. I really enjoyed that change up from their normal uniforms. The dresses are very pretty, and it's pretty good getting the transformation sequence with those. I kind of wish they did that more often. It's fun, but like, you know, that would require more animation often. But man, they love putting, especially the Yes PreCure 5 girls, in just pretty ball gown dresses, because they do that in this season at least once or twice. They do it in Yes PreCure 5 GoGo. They do it in the movie also. It's just a good time all around. As a Halloween episode, pretty good Halloween episode. We got Cinderella, we got a little bit of horror with the ball being attacked by the chandelier. Bunbi is in his monster form, as all of them are, but he's a little bit more monstrous than some of the previous villains who show up for the episodes. It's a pretty good Halloween episode. We're playing on some classic media like Halloween stuff kind of does. That's a 7 out of 10 Halloween episode. Maybe 8. Who knows? Pretty good, though. Yes, PreCure 5 GoGo, episode 37, was released on October 26th, 2008. We're slowly getting farther and farther away from Halloween, but that's okay, because the subsequent episode is even farther away from Halloween. So this has to serve as our Halloween episode. It's almost an entire week out, but it isn't a bad Halloween episode. It's pretty alright, actually. 5 Day Chance is the episode that we go through here. It's the second part of the two-parter 5 Day Chance, which is kind of fun because it's one of the few multi-part episodes in pretty much all of PreCure, actually, until the finales of each season, as they tend to go, where the PreCures are stuck in a chance game. They compete in little mini games like they were going to be on a television show, and they thought they were going to be on a television game show, quiz show type format, until Eternal showed up and started messing everything up, getting in the way, as they are wont to do. We get some goofy designs for the Hoshina because they are game show inspired, and then they double down on the goofiness when they fuse all of the game show Hoshina together to fight the PreCure. This episode is primarily focused on Lemonade's challenge, Aqua's challenge, and then Milk shows up afterwards once they finally get to fight the main bad guys together as a group, because the other 3 girls have been captured, and then Lemonade loses and she also gets captured. They put these girls in tubes. they got them in color-coordinated test tubes so they can watch their friends lose their challenges, and I guess they'll be trapped there forever if they all fail the challenges. So it really comes down to the coin flip, 50-50 odds that Karen goes through to win the big game. And win the big game she does. There's a really funny moment right before that, though, where they break the 4th wall to go to a commercial break because the antagonist, our magician-themed enemy from Eternal, is like, "We'll be right back," and just looks at the audience, and then it cuts to the commercial title cards that they go through, which I guess I didn't realize that the first time going through it, so it's really funny to see that on a subsequent watch. That's a good bit. That's a really good bit, and I appreciate them doing that. It's very funny. But as a Halloween episode, it's alright. Like, they're going to a game show that's not explicitly Halloween themed, but I feel like having spooky supernatural activities happen at a game show that's rigged against them, where if they lose, they die, kind of thing, that feels very much in the spirit of Halloween and the spirit of spooky goings-on. And I think that this does a pretty alright job of being a Halloween episode. That's like a solid 6 Halloween episode. Could be more Halloween themed, it could be spookier, but it's not explicitly a Halloween game show. Otherwise, it would have been way higher up there. But it's good, it's fun, it's good stuff. Fresh PreCure episode 38, released on October 25th, 2009, is even further from Halloween than the previous one, but only barely. Luckily, it is still closer to Halloween than the subsequent episode, which released over a week into November. They must have taken a break off, or a week off there for some reason. Fun. Good stuff. I like Tart a lot. He's fun. He gets a lot of airtime in this episode. He gets to serve a main role in this season, and he's just kind of fun. I like him. He's a fun little rat. And we almost get to see a kid get isekai'd in this episode, because this girl who's playing around with a little music box that they use to keep Chiffon from turning into Infinity, runs off with the music box to show her friend, and then almost gets hit by a car. And then the music box gets stuck on a truck, and that is the main plot of the episode, is that they gotta go find the music box, because Miki was watching it while Tart rested, and then the music box got lost. So it is a little funny seeing Miki just kind of run around the whole day. She digs through garbage, she crawls under benches, and gets dirty walking around on the ground, digging through bushes and stuff. And it's a little funny, but she's upset basically the entire time until she realizes that she can't give up, because she has a responsibility to her friends and to Chiffon and to being a PreCure, etc., etc. Car is the GOAT, as per usual. He inspires her to keep going because she has to find the strength within to stand up and keep a smile on her face, etc., that kind of stuff. He's just fun. He's a goofy side character, and it will never not be funny that he is also like a secret operative government agent. The actual fight of the episode against one of our main bad guys at Eternal nope, not Eternal, Labyrinth. Eternal was the last one. Is pretty good. It is a little funny seeing Barry go one-on-one with Solar and his Sorewatase, and then totally bait him by summoning her Toei and throwing it into the air to distract him, so she can just kind of kick him and steal the music box so they can get it to Tart and get it back to Chiffon, who's in the process of turning into Infinity, as per usual. I didn't care for a lot of the every single episode Chiffon is turning into Infinity type stuff that this season had, but it's okay. It's still pretty decent. It's not bad, it's just a little repetitive. And it was a little funny seeing Peach just immediately turn into her PreCure form, no transformation sequence needed, because things are intense right now. There's no time to do our cutesy little magical girl sequence when we have to go beat up bad guys. As a Halloween episode, 0. There is no Halloween present. Not a drop of it. Not a drop of Halloween can be juiced from these peach-themed, fruit-themed individuals. We need more Halloween in the fruit episodes, but there is none in this one, and that's a shame. Heartcatch PreCure episode 38, released on Halloween, October 31st, 2010. A whole 14 years ago. Good lord. It comes to a bit of an emotional low and then brought back up to an emotional high, because this is the second part of the Heartcatch Mirage training arc chest, basically, where they go to basically become officially recognized as PreCure, worthy of wielding the power of the Heartcatch Mirage, and have to fight their shadow selves in order to pass said trial. Our 4 Heartcatch girls are each facing a version of themselves, which is basically their past, their insecurities, combinations thereof, all of that kind of stuff that one would expect to have to encounter in a fighting your inner self type episode. Another one of the few multi-part episodes, but we're pretty late in the season. Most of these episodes, since they release around the same time every year, are going to be in kind of the same episode range of multi-parters and all of that kind of fun stuff. So it's pretty fun that we get the second half of one of these multi-part episodes here, because it is a pretty dramatic one. Blossom is struggling to deal with the fact that she is kind of a coward and shy and an introvert and just is not having a good time dealing with that for quite a while. Meanwhile, all of the rest of the PreCure have already passed their tests with, I wouldn't say relative ease, but a significant more amount of ease than Blossom currently has. And we don't get a clear answer to it, but I think it's reasonable to assume that she won't be able to leave until she passes this test. Her grandmother tells the other cures that if she fails, nothing will change. And, like, obviously the cryptic message here is referring to her as a person. She won't be able to grow past who she is or who she was, and will remain limited and not experience any personal growth and not mature. But, like, she's inside a mystical, magical realm made by a magic artifact, and the others, when they passed their tests, emerged from a statue that was previously just a solid block of presumably stone, that then took on their form to put their visage in the Hall of PreCure, where all of the other PreCure who have passed this test over time stand. And it's kind of fun that we get this image of legacy in this castle, whereas none of the other seasons really instill anything in that with us, other than just saying, oh yeah, PreCure are legendary warriors, they'll protect the light always. But we don't see that, except for once we get to Heartcatch. And this is also the episode where we get the super silhouettes. They get their cool power-up, they get their much more white, vibrant, shining outfits, where we get our shiny variants of the Heartcatch PreCure girls. And I do wish that the super silhouette forms were what they fought in more often, whenever they used super silhouette, but those forms don't get to see a ton of action, a little bit later on, but not a ton on themselves. They're primarily used to some of the power of the Heartcatch Orchestra, where they make a giant woman explode the bad guy. Halloween episode. It's like a 6 or 7, 6.5. They're fighting their shadow selves. Doppelganger episodes make for good Halloween episodes, and we don't see as much of that in this one in particular, because it's mostly just Tsubomi's doppelganger that we're getting to see in this episode. And it's an emotional, dramatic point for her to have to face her shadow self. And this sort of energy fits well with Halloween episodes. And she's not an evil doppelganger, otherwise that might bump it up a couple more points. But it still is one, and I think it kind of serves that purpose. The desert devil that the bad guys drop onto the world works really good as a spooky, scary antagonist for a Halloween type episode. They're obviously devil themed, it's in the name. They have snake tendrils coming out of their bodies and horns and light beams that heat and melt stuff. So like there's some fun stuff to work with there. It's not all the way there, but it's closer than some of the others. We get a little bit of it, which is kind of fun. And it's all right in that regard. And that's going to do it for the current set of PreCure Halloween episodes. Obviously, none of these are super Halloween themed. but it is a little funny pretending like the episodes released on or around Halloween are Halloween themed, or rating them based on how Halloween themed they are. It's just kind of a little funny thing. I thought about going further, getting into Sweet, PreCure, or Doki Doki, or Smile, but I hadn't gotten to the reviews of those yet, so I don't think I want to include them in this list until I've actually gotten down kind of a bit more, not formal, but, semi-informal review of those seasons to give them a fair shake before discussing any particular episodes that are within those seasons at length. But it's a good time. All of the PreCures are fun, and I hope that the next couple will have more Halloween. There are definitely like spookier, more monster-focused episodes within each season, where they have like haunted houses or the school is possessed by the monster or whatever. Multiple different seasons do that kind of stuff, and those are always fun. Those would definitely fit more as Halloween episodes, but it's funny to imagine these as the Halloween episodes instead, since they released on Halloween.